A lot of you guys will know Steve-O from MTV's Jackass, and just being the ultimate prankster. He is so funny. I went to one of his stand-up shows in Auckland, New Zealand a couple years ago, and it was really, really cool to meet him. Everyone knows him from his work on different MTV shows and just being a prankster, so it was really cool to meet him. When I met him, he also met all the fans that attended the show and would sign items for them if he bought or purchased one of his items that were for sale at the show, whether it be merchandise or a signed copy of his book. But it was really cool to meet him, and everyone that met him was able to get a selfie with him and get something signed, and that was really cool. He was pretty funny, always cracking jokes, that sort of thing. I wasn't really that big of a fan of like all his comedy stuff, but I knew who he was from MTV, so it was really cool to meet him in person and just get a photo with him. Next up is Coolio, Vanilla Ice, and all the artists I met on the I Love the 90s tour. This was a really fun tour to attend. I attended this a couple years ago, where many artists from the 90s, from back in the day, singers and groups, they came to New Zealand to play one huge show on one massive lineup, and it was really cool. I got a meet and greet for this, and I got to meet and greet them, meet them all, get photos with them all, and I also got a VIP package which included a bunch of signed items, some merch, collectible stuff. It was really, really cool. Probably my favourite to meet was Vanilla Ice and Coolio. I also met rapper Tone Loc, one of the 90s groups called Colour Me Bad, as well as Salt and Pepa and rapper Young MC, and that was a really, really cool show to attend. I also got to get photos with them all and chat to them all, but Coolio and Vanilla Ice, they were probably my favourites to meet. Macklemore is a really cool one. I had the chance to meet Macklemore many years ago now. Now I can't put an exact timeline on this because I can't remember the year that I met him. All I know is that when I met him, it was on his first ever trip to New Zealand, and it was his first show ever here, and it had sold out. And I remember because I wanted to get tickets and I couldn't because the whole show had sold out. Ever since then, he's been back to visit New Zealand and play a couple shows since then. However, when I met him, I was really, really young, and it must have been back in my early teens. It was really, I was very, very lucky to meet him. I met him at a private location in the middle of town for a quick meet and greet, basically. He was here to do some stuff for his shows, obviously, but he also was here because he was doing some special promo and pre-recording a film segment for live New Zealand TV. So it was just, I was really, really lucky to meet him. Only like one or two other people tops got to meet him when I met him and got my photo with him. It was really, really cool to meet him. I'd always been a fan ever since I heard Thrift Shop, and it just blew up and went like crazy worldwide. That's when he first ever came here for his first ever tour, and then when I met him, that song was just blowing up everywhere around the world at that time, and it was just like going crazy on radio. But I had the opportunity to meet him. It was really cool. He wasn't as chatty or like talkative or wouldn't really talk to you much, but I greeted him, gave him a hug, shook his hand. He was really, really cool. But other than that, it was really just a quick interaction, saying hi, getting your photo, and then sort of moving on because he had 2 or 3 other people to meet after me, and then he had to go and he had to film something, and then I think he played his show, and then the next day or so he sort of flew on to the next country, played another show, and that was that, and I haven't met him since, but I have been lucky enough to see him perform once or twice since then, and it was amazing. Okay, so I thought, why not now talk about a bunch of different people that I've met at radio stations over the years. So I've had a chance to meet, this will interest some people and it won't others, but I've had a chance to meet almost a lot of the Geordie Shorecast. Now, I don't know if people still even watch that show much, but like, I followed it at different times over the years. I just think it's funny reality TV. Like, I'm not necessarily like a hardcore fan or anything like that, but I just think it's entertainment and it's entertaining and it's funny. But, well, there's aspects to it that are funny, and then it's just like reality TV to watch, you know. But over the years, I've had a chance to meet Gaz several times, Vicky Patterson, Scotty T, James Tindale, Charlotte Crosby, among a few others. And yeah, so it's been really cool to meet them. Gaz and Scotty T, I would say, are the most friendly, alongside James. I've met Gaz a couple times, 2 or 3 times to be exact, and he's always been super friendly every time I've met him. Scotty T is really funny. He was a bit busy when I met him, but he still stopped for a photo, which was really cool. Vicky's cool. Not as chatty, that sort of thing, when you met her, but she still stopped for a photo, just like a lot of the other ones did. So yeah, I just thought I'd talk about how I've been lucky enough to just, meet a couple of them over the years, and some of them more often than others. A lot of the times when I've met them in the past, I've either met them at a radio station, or I've met them when they've come here because they're doing something at a radio station, promoting different club tours or different things they were doing at the time while they were over here promoting the show, and yeah, just different things like that. So yeah. Next up we have Sam Smith. Now, Sam Smith is really, really cool. I'm a huge, huge, huge fan of his music. As most people know, I've been a fan of him for quite some time, since he first started putting out music a couple years back. He's one of my favourite artists. My favourite song by him is actually his song Too Good at Goodbyes. I absolutely love that song. Now, I've shared this a couple times on Instagram and different things like that, but unless you know me, I probably haven't really talked about it much. But I was very, very lucky several years ago now. He's been to New Zealand a couple times since back then, but many, many years ago now, back when I was in my later teens, I would say, I actually got the chance to meet him, and it kind of happened by accident, because I planned to meet him, but I never had any sort of, I guess, expectations on meeting him, because I didn't want to get my hopes too high at the time. But I had the chance to meet Sam Smith. I found out through Twitter that when he came to New Zealand for his first ever world tour here, that he was staying somewhere down near the viaduct in town, and that when he was staying here, the first couple days before he was doing his first show here, a couple fans found out where he was, and they put it on Twitter, and so then you were able to find out sort of where he was staying, that sort of thing, and a lot of fans started going down to wait to try and meet him. And so every time he would go out and do something, whether it be sightseeing or go somewhere or go to the beach or different things, and every time he would come back to his hotel, he would meet people, and he'd get his fans to line up, and he'd sign whatever they wanted, or take photos or take videos. And so I thought, why not just try my luck? So I tried my luck, and I went down to the hotel, and I waited for hours. And when I say hours, I do really mean hours, because I got there in the morning or midday sort of thing, and he'd left for the day to go out and do different things. And that day that he'd left to go out, he'd actually gone down to Hobbiton for the day, and then he went to, I think, out to Piha Beach and a few different things within that day. And then maybe 6 or 7 hours later he came back. I was still waiting there. I waited, and as the car was going down into the underground car park, he opened the door, jumped out. Not only was I waiting there alongside another friend of mine, but there was also a couple other fans waiting there as well that wanted a photo with him, and he was more than happy to stop and do a bunch of photos, sign whatever you wanted, take photos, take videos, that sort of thing. It was really, really cool to meet him. It was one of those things, I must say, I was probably pretty, starstruck at the time. It was just really cool to meet him because I thought, oh yeah, I'll try my luck, see if this happens, but if it doesn't work out, that's cool too, because you just, you can never really count on anything. You don't know if he's going to stop, or even if he's going to, after being out all day, if he's even going to want to get out of the car or take any photos or anything. So he did. It was really, really cool. He jumped out of the car. I was the first person he took a photo with. I then also asked if he could do a video recording and give one of my friends, Kylie, a birthday shout out. And it was really, really cool. So Sam Smith gave my friend a shout out. It was really, really cool. Not only that, but he was really, really chatty. He chatted to all of us that were waiting there, and he also just took a bunch of photos with everyone, signed a bunch of different things. At that time, I never really thought to take anything to get signed. Obviously, I really wanted a photo, and that was why I met him. But since then, he's actually come back to New Zealand a couple other times, and he's played a show here and there. I actually went to one of his shows end of last year, on November the 2nd. In 2018, he played a show here. He played one or two, I think. And it was just really, really cool because the first time round I met him, but I never actually got to see him perform. And then second time round I didn't meet him, but I got to see him perform. So that was something. And it was really, really cool. I've always been a fan of him. He's just really, really genuine and a really nice human being. And such a lovely person. When celebrity pops into your head sort of thing, you don't, you never know what people are going to be like when you meet them. But Sam Smith was just very humble, very down to earth, and very genuine, and super, super friendly, super, super nice, and such an all-round nice guy. And yeah, if you ever get the chance to meet him, he's really, really cool, really, really chatty, willing to sign anything, take photos, anything like that. Because a lot of celebrities would be like, oh, nah, I don't really want to take photos or that sort of thing. But Sam Smith is super, super nice and just a really cool guy. So it was really, awesome to meet him. And that was actually a couple years back now. I'm not exactly sure exactly what year I met him, because I can't remember that far back. But it was a couple years back now. I must have been at least, round 18, 19 or something like that at the time. But yeah, I can't say for sure, but it was really, really cool to meet him. And he's gone on to sing a whole bunch of different songs and do some really cool things since then, so it's been really cool to watch him grow as an artist and do different things. So yeah, but I'll forever be a fan. He's such a nice guy, and yeah,